Did you know that before humans discovered how to cut diamonds, pearls were once the most expensive jewelry in the world? In ancient Rome, a single natural pearl could be worth as much as an entire mansion. Today, high jewelry pearl necklaces from Cartier or Mikimoto can sell for up to $5 million. But what makes pearls truly special is not just their luxury value.
They are one of the very few gemstones in the world, created by a living creature. Deep beneath the ocean for many years,
An oyster slowly coats a foreign object with thousands of layers of nacre to protect itself, unintentionally creating
what humans have viewed as a symbol of elegance and power for thousands of years. In this video, the Factorin takes you through
the complete journey of pearls. From ocean pearl farms to some of the world's most luxurious high jewelry ateliers. Few people realize that before the oil boom in the Gulf region, pearls were once the most important economic resource for many Middle Eastern countries. In the late 9th century, tens of thousands of divers in the Persian Gulf relied entirely on the natural pearl industry for survival. A single diving season could last up to 4 continuous months at sea, with hundreds of boats sailing out at the same time. But the entire industry nearly collapsed within just a few decades after Japan successfully commercialized cultured pearls in the early 20th century. For the first time in history, humans could produce pearls on an industrial scale, instead of depending entirely on luck from nature. Today, the global pearl industry is worth more than $10 billion annually, with more than 90% of production coming from China, through massive freshwater pearl farms. Meanwhile, premium saltwater pearls, such as South Sea pearls from Australia and Tahitian pearls from French Polynesia, are still considered among the most luxurious categories because of their multi-year cultivation periods and extremely low rates of near-perfect quality.
Icons such as Audrey Hepburn and Coco Chanel helped turn pearl necklaces into lasting symbols of elegance for decades. But the paradox is this: even as pearl cultivation technology becomes increasingly advanced, the finest pearls remain extraordinarily rare. Among thousands of pearls harvested each year, only a very small percentage achieve the roundness, luster, and nearly flawless surface quality
required to enter the true world of high jewelry. Few people know that a beautiful cultured pearl
does not begin with an oyster in the ocean, but with a piece of freshwater mussel shell inside a factory. The thick, strong, light-colored shell with a stable structure is selected to become the nucleus of the pearl. This small core is what the nacre will slowly cover, layer by layer, throughout the culturing process. From rough shell pieces, cutting machines divide them into small blocks, then send them through multiple rounds of grinding, rounding, and polishing to create smooth, spherical beads. This stage produces a huge amount of waste, from about 1 ton of raw mussel shell. Sometimes only around 60 pounds of qualified nuclei can be obtained. The rest is rejected because it is cracked, uneven in color, not hard enough, or impossible to shape into a beautiful sphere. After that, each nucleus is sorted by size, roundness, color, and surface smoothness. Some are only a few millimeters wide, while others can reach
about 0.87 inches for larger pearl varieties. From the outside, they look like simple ivory white beads.
The nacre can build evenly around it, helping the future pearl become rounder, stronger, and more valuable. To create a cultured pearl, intelligence, a round nucleus alone is still not enough. The real secret lies in a tiny piece of tissue taken from the mantle of a donor oyster, 2 inches long. This tissue is so small that it may seem insignificant to the naked eye, but it acts like a biological command center, deciding whether the host oyster will begin forming a pearl. The male Caucasian worker selects healthy donor oysters, with beautiful nacre, stable color, and a glossy inner shell surface. Then, they gently open the shell, cut a thin strip of tissue from the mantle, and divide it into smaller pieces. Each piece of tissue is implanted together with the nucleus inside the host oyster. This tissue is what stimulates the oyster's body to secrete nacre around the nucleus.
Without this soft tissue, the nucleus may simply be treated as a foreign object and rejected. Pearl grafting is a stage where machines still struggle to replace the human hand. Each host oyster is opened very gently.
Then the technician uses a fine instrument to make a small incision and place the nucleus together with the mantle tissue into the oyster's gonad. This area has enough space, sufficient blood supply, and a lower chance of rejection. There, the mantle tissue will develop into a pearl sac, wrapping around the nucleus and beginning to secrete nacre layer by layer. The entire operation may take less than 1 minute.
But it can determine the success of a culturing process that lasts up to 3 years afterward.
Pearl grafting can be seen as a kind of surgical profession within marine farming. The cost of hiring a skilled grafter can be around $3 to $4 per oyster. For a farm grafting several thousand oysters in a single season, this becomes a significant expense. A beginner may learn how to hold the tools within a few months.
But to work with steady hands, feel the correct shell opening, place the nucleus in the right position, and handle hundreds of oysters a day without injuring them often takes years of practice.
After grafting, the oyster is returned to the farming area. But inside its body, an almost invisible process begins. The mantle tissue does not simply sit beside the nucleus. It gradually forms a living layer of tissue around the core.
It's like a tiny biological workshop. From there, the oyster begins secreting nacre.
The natural material made of about 95% calcium carbonate, along with a very small amount of organic compounds that bind the crystals together.
What makes a pearl special is not how fast it grows, but how it grows. Nacre does not cover the nucleus as one thick solid layer. Instead, it is built up in extremely thin layers, sometimes only about 0.00002 inches thick. Each layer acts like a microscopic sheet of biological glass, stacking over the previous one in an almost perfect order. This layered structure is what allows light not only to reflect off the surface, but also to pass through the nacre layers and bounce back, creating the soft glow and unique depth that pearls are known for. Harvesting saltwater pearls does not begin with sparkling gems. It begins with a cold, heavy, and risky dive. Offshore, pearl cages are often suspended at depths of about 15 to 6 feet, deep enough for oysters to live in clean, stable, nutrient-rich water. After many months of care, divers finally bring the oysters that have reached the right growing stage back to the surface. Each cage is pulled up slowly, heavy with seaweed, plankton, and hundreds of oysters inside. From the outside, they look like rough, silent shells. But inside each one may be the result of an entire cultivation cycle.
From the delicate grafting operation to the slow, silent buildup of nacre, layer by layer.
Once brought ashore and cleaned, the oysters enter the pearl inspection stage. Many farms use X-ray systems to scan inside before opening them. In just a few seconds, the scan reveals whether an oyster contains a pearl, where it is located, and whether it is valuable enough to harvest. In many freshwater pearl farming regions across China, the country responsible for producing more than 90% of the world's pearl supply. Most oysters are cultivated for large-scale commercial pearl production. These oysters can often produce multiple pearls inside a single shell at the same time,
sometimes dozens within a farming cycle that lasts around 2 to 5 years.
Since the value of each pearl is relatively low, harvesting is usually carried out directly at coastal pearl farms or open-air processing areas.
Sitting side by side at pearl extraction tables covered in seawater and oyster shells.
But for saltwater oysters used to produce high-end pearls such as Akoya, South Sea, or Tahitian pearls, the entire process is completely different. Each oyster usually grows only a single pearl over several years, which is why their value can be dozens or even hundreds of times higher than ordinary commercial pearls. A high-quality South Sea pearl can even sell for thousands, or sometimes tens of thousands of dollars, even in its raw form. Instead of being opened in large batches at open pearl processing sites, these oysters are typically handled
individually on specialized work tables under powerful lighting, so workers can inspect every tiny detail on the pearl's surface.
The shell is opened extremely slowly, usually just 1 to 2 inches wide. Enough to insert the tools without creating pressure that could crack the pearl. Using the location previously identified. Through X-ray scans, the worker carefully separates the surrounding soft tissue with fine instruments and removes the pearl almost entirely through delicate fingertip movements. The moment the pearl finally appears often lasts only a few seconds, but behind it lies years of cultivation beneath the ocean, and it is during this stage that the true value of the pearl is finally determined. In today's high-end pearl industry, the 3 most recognized names are Akoya, South Sea, and Tahitian pearls,
each representing an entirely different class of luxury. Akoya pearls are famous for their smaller size,
but exceptionally high roundness and mirror-like luster, especially in Japan. South Sea pearls, on the other hand, are considered the giants of the pearl world, often featuring silver, white, or golden tones, with sizes exceeding 0.5 inches, and values reaching tens of thousands of dollars for a single high-quality pearl. Meanwhile, Tahitian pearls from French Polynesia are known for their rare, naturally dark colors, displaying shades of peacock green, silver gray, and deep purple tint that are almost impossible to replicate artificially with complete accuracy. After harvesting, pearls cannot immediately become jewelry. Each pearl is placed on an inspection table and examined under powerful lighting to evaluate 5 main factors: size, shape, luster, color, and surface imperfections. Even a tiny pit or a slightly dull area can dramatically reduce the pearl's value.
For high-end pearl necklaces, artisans must carefully match 40 to 60 pearls with nearly identical size, color, and luster.
That is why a fine pearl necklace is valued not only for the beauty of each individual pearl, but also for the rarity of finding an entire set that matches so closely. After the selection and grading process, the finest pearls are sent to high-end jewelry ateliers, where beauty formed over many years inside an oyster begins its transformation into luxury jewelry. Inside the workshops of Cartier, Mikimoto, and Van Cleef & Arpels, each pearl is first cleaned and examined under powerful white lighting systems.
Specialists continuously rotate the pearls by hand to observe how light moves across the nacre surface,
while evaluating luster, color, shape, and even the smallest surface imperfections. Even a tiny dent or an uneven reflection area can immediately disqualify a pearl from the highest luxury grade. For rings, earrings, and pendants, the pearls are mounted onto gold or platinum settings using precision pins and specialized adhesives designed to resist moisture and aging over time. Many high jewelry ateliers also polish each surrounding metal surface separately to better direct reflected light onto the pearl, allowing the nacre to produce the depth and signature glowing effect that almost no artificial material can fully replicate. What makes pearls truly unique is this: unlike diamonds or gemstones, humans can barely improve them through craftsmanship. Jewelers cannot add extra facets, polish away imperfections, or mechanically create natural luster. The true value of pearl jewelry comes from the fact that nature itself
Has spent years forming a pearl that is already nearly perfect beneath the ocean. Not every pearl is beautiful enough to become jewelry.
Pearls that are misshapen, cracked, dull, or heavily blemished are often processed into pearl powder instead. They are cleaned, dried, and ground into ultrafine powder for use in cosmetics and certain health products. Since pearls are mainly made of calcium carbonate, along with small amounts of proteins and amino acids, even lower-grade pearls are rarely wasted. Instead, they continue into another industry, quietly turning defective pearls into valuable commercial materials. For thousands of years, pearls have been regarded as one of the most precious treasures ever created by the ocean. Long before humans learned how to cut diamonds or shape gemstones, naturally formed pearls from the deep sea
already appeared on the crowns of kings, queens, and the world's most powerful aristocrats. In many ancient cultures, pearls were called
tears of the sea, or moonlight sleeping beneath the ocean, because of their soft glow unlike any other gemstone. For centuries, pearls they became symbols of elegance, power, and social status. From the pearl necklaces worn by European royalty, to the high jewelry creations of Cartier, Mikimoto, and Van Cleef & Arpels today, the beauty of pearls has never disappeared from the world of luxury. And perhaps what makes them truly unique is this. Unlike most luxury objects created entirely by machines, every pearl begins with a living creature, silently forming it over many years beneath the ocean. That is why pearls are not simply jewelry. They are one of the few luxury symbols that carry the mark of time.
Nature and patience itself.